The introduction to this video was inspired by a comment from Gem Wand, who says, "Puppets, just don't go any further with that, please."
Liftoff of mission 41D, the first flight of the orbiter Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower. Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Classic algorithmic reverb plugins use a combination of shortened feedback delays to create the illusion of reverb. The design team at Denise Audio said, no. They flew to the moon, set up camp, and invented their TXVerb technology. Using this technology, the Perfect Room does not use delays for the tail, nor does it use any animal products, the obvious choice for tails. It uses voodoo from space.
A few months ago, we reviewed the Perfect Plate plugin from Denise and we loved it. Once again, they've been in touch and they've given us a license for their Perfect Room plugin, a plugin that uses their own TXVerb algorithm rather than the standard feedback loop technology found in other reverb plugins. For full disclosure, no money has changed hands and we were given this license for free for the purposes of this review, but we're free to give our own honest opinion and Denise has no say in the content of this video. According to Denise's website, the new TXVerb technology allows for highly creative use, different sounds, and can enhance the character and coloration of any audio run through it in an extremely natural way. So let's dive right in. Starting with the interface, the plugin retains the same look and feel as their other plugins. On the left, we start with the input and output levels, followed by a mix control, high pass and low pass filters, and on the bottom row, the controls for the reverb specific parameters, namely delay, meaning pre-delay, tail and width. The controls above these allow for a deep dive into more specific sound controls. We have 3 options here: shimmer, detune and ducker. Clicking on the right hand side of each control will turn the effect on. Don't miss this step. When I first tried the Perfect Plate reverb last time, that wasn't immediately clear to me and it took me a little while to work out how to turn it on. On the shimmer page, we get the choice of implementing 2 extra signals. The original signal pitched down 1 octave and pitched up 1 octave on each control respectively. The source dial is effectively a mix knob for this particular effect. To control the overall volume for this particular effect, this counts for the others too, click and hold on the effect tab and drag left and right. One thing I'd love would be the ability to also drag left and right as well as up and down on every control rather than just some of them, taking into consideration the fact that all the sliders display with left to right movement on the user interface and the majority of sliders only seem to work with vertical movements of the mouse. It would be a little more intuitive to be able to follow that movement. Not a huge issue, but something that I feel could provide a more natural movement and user experience. Taking a quick listen to the shimmer effect, you can end up with sounds like this, which can really add some life and variation to your audio, as well as possibly some sound reinforcement for vocal mixing to give a fuller sound. The Detune window is a pitch detuner, adding pseudo-random pitch fluctuations into the reverb tail, controlled by the wow and shake options on this dedicated control panel. There's also a speed control to control the frequency of the wow and shake effects. The detune effect is giving us an almost alien effect when applied to a voice. I think this could be great for adding suspense and tension to certain effects. Ducker offers just what you'd expect, sidechain based compression. The ducker compresses the wet signal based on the input of the dry source signal. This is ideal for creating long reverb tails whilst preserving the definition of the source signal. By using the ducker, we're reducing the risk of any frequency masking that may be happening. Let's just have a quick listen to the ducker. Quite simply, it's lowering the reverb volume while I speak. And then whenever there's silence, the level is raised once again. At the top left of the plugin, you can choose your room type. choosing from natural, triangle, or square. This doesn't denote the shape of the room as you might think, but the style of the room response. The natural selection decays logarithmically over time, creating a natural sounding room response. Triangle decays linearly over time and is useful for longer reverb tails and creative effects. And square doesn't decay at all and stops abruptly. The easiest way to visualize this would be to imagine the shapes on a graph with the volume decaying as the shape is described. The natural shape is the one we're most accustomed to listening to in real life. When you stand in a tunnel or a large hall and you shout, the reverb decays logarithmically. Moving on to triangle, this is a linear decay shape and provides a more consistent decay rate. Finally, square. As we can hear, when I stop talking, the reverb tail carries on at a consistent level and then stops. Next to the room type selection is the tone response with 5 options ranging from bright XL to dark XL, going from the highest response to the deepest respectively. If you choose flat in the middle of the options, this has a perfectly flat frequency response, creating the most natural sounding room response. We've been listening to the flat frequency response up until now. So let's go up to the bright XL response and hear how it boosts the treble, especially on bright sources such as the sibilants in voices and cymbals on a drum kit. And then down to the dark XL setting to hear how it boosts the low end. If you want big dramatic explosions for sound effects work, this one will do nicely. Finally, the 2 controls in the top right. Flip allows you to reverse the wet decay effect, which is a really cool feature and sounds a bit like this. And split, which turns the signal from mono to stereo without phasing issues. Controllable using the width dial on the bottom right of the plugin. In terms of compatibility, plenty of plugin manufacturers have been having issues with Apple's new M1 processors. But you're in luck if you use Denise's plugins. We didn't have any issues running multiple instances of Perfect Room on a project on our Mac Mini M1. So if you're running the new Mac system, you don't need to worry about graphics glitches or crashes. Mark, what did you think? Duck? Rabbit?
Duck. Rabbit. Duck. I really enjoyed using Perfect Plate when we reviewed it on the channel a couple of months ago and was excited to hear this one, Perfect Room. As for the sonics, my observations with Perfect Plate also hold true for this. It might not be the best standalone reverb you've ever heard, and that's not a bad thing. What it does do is fits into a mix really, really well, and it's actually stunningly realistic when just using the basic room algorithms. It sounds like a room, and often a room doesn't sound as good as the sound you might have in your head, but there are a ton of plugins out there that sound great when you're auditioning them in isolation as reverbs, but are just too much when it comes to mix time. This nails reverb as reverb, reproduction of a real space, in much the same way as something like a Bricasti M7 does. In fact, it really reminded me of the character of that, but it also does the reverb for effect thing very well too. I can't fault the sound of it at all. I've been using it on a lot of mixes over the past few months, and I've never felt the need to have to pile on plugins either before or after it in the chain to get the sound I'm after. It's all there. The pre-delay can really help to give a sense of depth to parts of the mix. If you want a dry recording to sound like a band in a room, use the same basic room sound on each instrument, but vary the levels of pre-delay, and you can really gain a sense of depth with this. So it's a big thumbs up from me. It's priced very competitively as well, and you can try it for yourself for free by clicking on the link in the description. Back to James.
Let's take the track Mark put together for the intro for this video, mute his god-awful voice, and play a few bars with reverb and a few bars with the plugin bypassed, so you can hear it within the context of a mix. All the reverb you can hear is being provided by the Perfect Room plugin. Thank you again so much to Denise for sending us this plugin. We'll be reviewing their Dragonfire tonal compression plugin very soon, so make sure you've subscribed, given us a big thumbs up and ding the ding dong to be notified of that. Thanks for watching, and you'll see us in the next one.
Control of critical vehicle function.